Hi, I'm Neil Sackmary.
Hi, I'm State Trooper Sean Hagstrom with the Nevada State Police Highway Patrol Division, PEIO. Please stay tuned for the next episode of Trooper Talk.
And together, we can make a difference. Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studio with this edition of Trooper Talk. We have a lot of cool things that are happening here. Let's everybody introduce themselves so that we know who we're dealing with now, right?
I'm State Trooper Sean Hagstrom, and I'm the PIO for the Nevada Highway Patrol.
You, sir, are who?
I got to introduce myself a little differently today. My name is Corporal McClarty. I was the prior recruiter for Nevada State Police.
Corporal.
And what's your new job now?
Right.
Well, now I'm one of the training corporals at the Academy for Nevada State.
We are very happy to have you here in this type of uniform. And you, sir?
I'm Sergeant Ted Chkowski, and I'm the Motor Sergeant for Nevada Highway Patrol Southern Command.
And so thank you all for being here. One of the cool things that we're able to do with Trooper Talk is have very cool and interesting things according to how you can talk to everybody and get everybody in here, because it's really important. A lot of people, they see this motorcycle, they zoom past it, they don't understand what it is. I'm sitting next to this machine gun, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that you are in control of when you are driving your motorcycle. On top of which, as we joked before, that some of us might sit on this and it might not be comfortable, where others have an office of four wheels. This is your office. So from over there, sort of describe to us a little bit about what it is that we have, the motorcycle and everything like that.
So it's a BMW RTP 1250. It's a 2020. We typically mileage out the motorcycles around 60,000 miles. This one has about 50,000, so we got the new 2024s coming out pretty soon here. Yeah, I got an AR rack on the back that has a rifle, so that you know, if we needed to respond to anything like that would require the deployment, then we'd have that with us.
And we show you all the time. You're very famous.
All right. Unfortunately, so.
Yes, but you know, we show you, you know, at your best, which is when you're doing work, right? We show you when you're looking over the motorcycle with the radar gun, you know, hiding behind things, you know, to show people that you're out there in the community, and that speed, right, is one of the things that we need to get on top of in the state, because people are driving at really high speeds. And so lately, what are the speeds that you're catching people at?
So we just did a Southern Nevada Traffic Task Force last week, and the average speeds that we were pulling in there were about 88 to 90 miles an hour. And this was at 95 and Lake Mead Boulevard, right there, going northbound. And so 88, 90 miles an hour was about average. And then we actually had a few that one at 115 and then one at 126 for that day.
115 miles an hour. Now, we talk about speed, right? And we
Absolutely.
talk about impairment. And just speed in itself, at that speed, is a reckless manner. And there's no reason to be going that speed. And that's one of the things that we talk about all the time on Trooper Talk.
Absolutely, and we bring it up all the time, Neil, about reckless driving, and what we want the folks out there to know is, if you get stopped for reckless driving, that 115, 126 miles per hour, which is unacceptable anyways, they can tow your car, they can arrest you on spot. But reckless driving also is a ticket that is $1,240, 8 points off your license. Your license only has 12 points on it already, but you lose 8 points off your license right away. So now you're looking at higher insurance costs, or even trying to get insurance, because you never know, some insurance companies might drop you if you already had a couple points for speeding before. But there's no sense for reckless driving out here. I'm on the 215, and I'm still pulling over people 90 to 100 miles an hour, and totally unacceptable. So what we're trying to do is get the message out for everybody to slow it down. The majority of our fatals out here are due to speed and impairment across the whole state of Nevada. So people got to understand that speed is one of our main factors when it comes to death on the roadways here.
Yeah, it's horrible. And we hope that a person in the middle who is not going to be doing recruiting anymore, you know, one of the things that you have that you've always talked about, which is the recruiting and getting good people and things like this, and now you have been promoted to a position where you actually can really make significant changes in everyone's life, because now you see them from the time they get into the academy all the way until the end. And so talk to us a little bit about this promotion and things of that nature, and what was sort of like the ultimate decision for you to say, this is what I want to do.
So starting with recruiting, I get to see the journey of somebody even having the idea of applying for law enforcement, maybe telling them my stories, having other people tell their stories of why they chose to do this type of career. But now I get to kind of jump past that a little bit and see them have already made that decision, and then now see the growth from beginning in the academy from day one all the way up until graduation. And that's kind of a little bit of the reason why I chose to do that. And I had the idea when I was in the academy, like, I think I could do this. I think I could be, you know, a good teacher, a good person to have the experience to show people how to conduct yourself as an officer, and then see them growth, and then or see their growth, and then move on to their career full time once they're off training and stuff. So that's kind of the real reason I wanted to, I guess, inspire and be a good support system for people, starting with recruiting and then now this. So I get to do that a little bit more than just be an officer. It's a little bit more passion for me to be able to help out who I want to work with.
And he's got the extra stripe now.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I got to add this too, Neil.
Yeah,
we don't have anybody more committed. Because
yeah,
remember when he was doing recruiting?
100%.
He would do it on his days off.
Yes.
If somebody needed help, you know, getting their push-ups or physical fitness done, he'd be there. And he deserves a spot more than anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy for him to move up.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of a move up, you know, being a corporal now. And I think he'll do a fine job training new recruits for the Nevada State Police. No matter what direction they want to go, whether they want to go parole and probation, highway patrol. We've talked that we have so many different areas that you can go into: Nevada Division of Investigation, Fire Marshal, Capitol Police, the Governor's Dignitary Protection. Once you get in the Nevada State Police family, there's so many avenues that you can take, and these guys are the front line that get everybody ready for that job.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, we make a joke, but like when it came to the dedication of what he did to get new people to do the recruiting for everything, you know, he was there.
Absolutely.
And so it is very well deserved. He's probably very modest and doesn't want to smile at it, but you know, but it is the truth. You know,
it
what
gets
I mean?
a little
So-
awkward. I don't like that.
Right, I know.
Yeah, whatever.
So I noticed on your motorcycle you had a special sticker that was on the back here for two brothers that have lost their life due to someone that was impaired. And so in your line of work, it's always, you know, protecting the city and things of this nature. But when it comes to the loss of two brothers that were out there that were doing their job, does it give you further motivation to do what it is that you do, or how do you feel about that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Especially on the impaired driving aspect of things. You know, it was 100% tragic loss, and yeah, unfortunately, I mean, this is not a safe job as well, and you know, going out there and stopping people that, you know, we always kind of look at it where whenever we stop an impaired driver, we're at least saving one life. When I was a sergeant on Graveyard, before I was a motor sergeant, I mean, there were, and you may remember it, where we went through summer. It was like a 3-month span where we had all these wrong way drivers and stuff like that. You know, all of them are impaired. You know, getting on the highway, and then that's like, it's almost guaranteed if they hit somebody, they're gonna either kill themselves or everyone's gonna die in a crash like that. You know, definitely in that aspect, but Yeah, the impact that has made has definitely got us more motivated in arresting more impaired drivers.
Yeah.
And Neil, I'm
And-
not. Oh, I'm sorry. Neil.
No, I was just going to say, and
Yeah.
so one of the things that's very cool is that we know each other from when you do the joining forces with Lieutenant Campbell and all that type of stuff. And you are out there on your motorcycle where most people have 4 wheels and a car to protect them. And then I get to what I was going to say that, so when it comes to you riding your motorcycle, I know that you have to go through rigorous training because with all these different people, and I was just hoping that you could talk about that.
Yeah, so when someone's off of probation and they're selected to go to the motor squad, whenever we're recruiting within, and someone goes to the motor squad, they go to a 4-week motor school, which is put on by Vegas Metro, Las Vegas Metro. And they got a great staff over there. Now it moved. It used to be at the Speedway. Now it's down here, and it's 4 weeks. First 2 weeks are really rigorous as far as learning how to control the motorcycle at slower speeds. And then they have actually a track day where you can go out and get to see how the motorcycle reacts on a road course. And then we go into the motorcade training because obviously we're a swing state, and we had quite a few visits that, now that we've wrapped up the campaign season, that stuff is the most dangerous, but it's also the most fun on our end. Whenever we're doing like a escort, the president comes in or vice president comes in, and whenever we're doing that, but we get more training. It's like 360 hours of training, in a month, and pretty much knock that out. Then they're hitting the road. We kind of put them through a field training process, which is another month of motor training. How it is. Everything's great in a controlled environment, but once you get out there and you're on the side of the highway, and it's a lot different from being in a car.
Yeah.
So someone goes by you at sometimes we get these sport bikes go by us at 150,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's your car may be shaking at that, but everything's shaking at that point. When you're on your motorcycle. So there's a lot more involved. I would say, like, in my car, I used to play the radio and stuff like that. Well, cruising around this, it's 100%. You're focused all the time, and this is a lot different because I had personal bikes in the past, and had a number of personal bikes, and I rode for 10 years before getting on motors, and it's a completely different riding style. Like, and actually, Sean, you were on motors before.
Yes, I was on motors. One of the best schools I ever went to was Metro Motors.
Yeah.
Incredible school.
It really is. But the patrol riding is definitely different from like leisure riding. Because you're always constantly looking. Everyone always says, "Oh, crazy drivers out there," and I'd never get on a motorcycle in this town. And we have to consistently do that every day. Like, and you have to have your head, not to, just use the common phrase, head on a swivel. But it's a constant every day. So at the beginning, you always get home, especially motor school, you're just exhausted, And then when you get on motors and you're getting kind of acclimated to being on a motor for patrol, that you're going to come home pretty exhausted, especially you're out in elements as well. So I like the hot a lot better than I like the cold. That's why I moved here from the Midwest.
Right.
But the summers really take its toll and stuff like that. You can a motor officer, you always find them. They'll park somewhere and they're always going to find the shade.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it could be like the thinnest light pole or the thinnest tree, and it'll just be parked right underneath it, just like always searching for shade during the summer here. But the equipment, the equipment that Nevada State, the Highway Patrol provides us is definitely top notch. We used to be on Harleys and stuff like that before. This is more BMWs are a little more are a better option as far as the
Performance.
as far as the performance, and it's a better option for what we do on the highway. Because we're constantly going 0 to 100, back down to 0 to 100, all day long, and so it's I would say it's the best job. Everyone says their special assignment's the best job, but it's definitely the best job that's out there as any law enforcement.
Yeah, and you did K9. I didn't know you did the motors.
Oh yeah, did motors, K&I,
and
governor's
now,
detail.
and now he drives the Mustang.
Yeah.
That
with the
everybody
Mustang.
thinks is like a regular Mustang with no roof, no roof lights, and they think like
Well,
it's
they get surprised every day. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you know
I got
what I
people
mean?
pass me 20 over the speed limit. We have to have a little talk and education.
Right.
So unfortunately.
So talk to me about then. That's very interesting because you've done different things. Unfortunately, you already work for Nevada State Police, and he's not doing recruiting anymore. Or his ears would have perked up and said, "Oh, if there's something else that you can do." You know what I mean?
Sure,
But,
sure. There's a lot of things you can do and say win.
talk to us about that though.
Well, you know what? Once you get on, a lot of these specialty jobs come available. If you've done like 3 years or more, some of these jobs will come up. Like there might be a position in K9, or not long ago they were looking for extra people in the governor's detail for protecting full time for the governor. These are like specialty jobs. They usually are only for about 3 years. And then once your 3 years are up, and then you'll end up going back to your patrol. Or we also have parole and probation right now that is also, since we're under Nevada State Police, guarding the governor right now. So, and they have all the same training and everything, but he could tell you what was your job as a recruiter. Was it for a 3-year stint? 2 or
3
was
years
it?
max, 2 years minimum, 3 years max.
Yeah. So that's what happens with some of these specialty jobs, and how you just got to wait for openings, and then you apply for it. And you just compete with everybody else like another job option or whatever.
But the thing is that you're still with the same agency, right?
Absolutely.
So you still have the pension,
Mhm.
right?
Nothing
You still-
changes.
You
just
still
the
have all
assignment.
these different things,
Mhm.
and so from the time that you're young, right? You could have a job that is for a very long time that sets you up to have pension and all these type of things. Normally we talk to a recruiter, but now he's a corporal.
Sure.
So I'm kind of doing
You
dual
know
roles
what
right
I'm
now, so
saying?
I can chime
So-
until they get the new
in.
recruiter.
So he says
yeah.
like specialty jobs, right?
Yes.
I like to say it as each division, the 3 that you can go into, Highway Patrol, Parole Probation, and Capitol Police, they're specialty jobs
Uh-huh.
because they're totally different from each other. So that kind of makes us, or sets us different, or sets us apart from like Metro or
Other
any,
law enforcement.
any other city agency, because you get to specialize in traffic management, traffic safety, going to Highway Patrol. There's a lot more to it, but that's like the bare bones of it. And then Parole and Probation, they're safeguard Nevada by providing solutions to the people that they supervise on probation and parole. And then Capitol Police, their mission statement is kind of escaping me at the moment, but they're safeguarding like the state capitol, the state buildings, helps out with the DMV, and then also they do traffic safety as well. So you get to do specialty jobs, and then once you're on for 2 to 3 years, then you can, just me as an example, right? Like I've been to the training division as a recruiter, now I'm training division as a corporal, and then you have the motors, and
That's-
dignitary protection, which is another division, and that's full time. You don't have to stay there for 3 years max. That's actually a full time position once you're in it.
And you're at the governor's whim too.
Yeah.
So if he decides that you're no longer going to be work there, it's not like you're getting fired or anything. You'll just get reassigned, and they'll bring somebody else in. So in some of these jobs, if you don't perform, like if you're not utilizing your K9, because it is a law enforcement tool, and you're just bringing it home as a pet, and you don't think you're going to go out there and utilize it like it's supposed to be, they're going to make those different changes. You know what I mean? They'll still have a job or whatever, but then they'll also switch back to either highway patrol, parole and probation, or whatever they were working at last. One thing I want to hit, Neil, though,
Yeah, tell me.
since we were talking about speed and everything, and we do have the holidays coming up,
Yes.
and I do want everybody to, if they can remember a few things like reduce your speed, buckle up, have your cell phone off. If you're traveling out of town, I usually tell people, make sure that you have a spare tire, and it works. Like it actually has air in it. I don't know how many times I've told you in the past that we get out there and they don't even have a spare tire, or there's no air in the tire,
Yeah.
and we don't like carry compressors with us and all this other stuff. So we either got to get a tow or something else. Make sure you have jumper cables. Just make sure your car is mechanically sound before you go on a lengthy trip if you're going to travel a couple states away. And I always tell people, take water with you. Just because if you do get stranded, take water and take extra like winter clothes. Because throughout the country, yeah, we do live in a little bit warmer area, but being in the desert, it gets extremely cold at night. It may warm up during the day, but it's still going to be definitely cold out there for a lot of people. And if you're stranded and somebody can't get to you right away, but always remember, you know, we always tell people 911, but we also have Star NHP, and that goes directly into our dispatch. And then if you call that, if you're stranded, we'll send a trooper out to you. If we can't get the problem resolved, we'll end up getting a tow truck or whatever you need for that family out there. Also, over the holiday season, our troopers are going to be in force, and they're going to be enforcing the Big Five. And that's going to be speeding, driving distracted, impaired driving, hazardous moving violations, and unrestrained not having a seatbelt on. So troopers are going to be looking at that during the holiday season. So make sure that you, like I said, if you can keep those few things for us, reduce your speed, have your seatbelt on, kind of have your cell phone off, and just don't let other people in your car distract you while you're driving. Always keep your eyes on the road. We just want you to have a good holiday season coming up. We got 2 big holidays coming up, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we really want people to really slow down, and so you can enjoy the Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Going back when he said,
Yeah.
we brought up about you brought up about our 2 troopers that were deceased. That's coming up here in November 30th, end of watch, for both Sergeant Abate and Trooper Felix. And what a tragedy! And we're still mourning over this, and it's going to be a year now. And our hearts go out to those families. Even though that person got convicted, it might have brought a little bit of peace and closure. But that's going to be somebody that's not going to be at the dinner table during Thanksgiving or Christmas. And both those families have young children.
Yeah.
So when you're out there driving, and like we said, talking about reckless driving, you could end somebody's life. And then you're going to end up seeing somebody like what he used to do, Douglas McCarty, where you end up meeting parole and probation because you end up going to prison. And then when you do that time, you're still going to meet with parole and probation. But not only that, you got to think you took a family's life or somebody's life that's not going to be at the holiday table this holiday season. So let's just be mindful of others and kind of inherit what we talked about today here.
You know, the one of the shows that I watch at the evening is about the courts, right? And so what they do is they show like the judge, and then they show like, you know, the person, and sometimes it's, you know, the person gets crazy. But one of the things that's really heartfelt is when someone loses their life, and they have the victim impact statements of how it is that person impacted their life. And so we know from Trooper May about the kids that are growing up now without a father, right? Trooper Felix and Sergeant Abate. I mean, you know, they come on to the Trooper Talk, and now they're not here, and like it's just it's really it's a tragedy, and we need to make sure that this type of thing never happens again, and that's why we need to stop the impairment and the speeding while we're driving.
Absolutely, and I'm going to add on with that impairment. When people think there is no excuse for driving impaired nowadays.
None.
You know, we have rideshare, Uber, Lyft, taxis, buses, and let's say you take a designated driver or you have somebody designated for that time. We're not saying don't have a good time during the holidays. We're not saying don't drink and have a good time. Just don't get behind the wheel. I mean, we've talked about it before. We live in Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. We want people to enjoy themselves and have fun, but always make sure you have a ride. Don't get behind the wheel, and that's all we ask. And it's a very simple thing. It's better to pay that $50, or I know most of the time, even in the Valley, you can get anywhere less than $100.
Yeah, and they do right.
And why would you put your chance in having your name in the paper and your neighbors knowing everything? And paying just to retain attorneys probably $10,000 to $15,000 just for that. Then you have to have a specialized insurance, and then you don't know if you could end up if it's a serious injury or death. You could be looking at jail or prison.
Right.
And there's just numerous things that doesn't come out good. And if you have to drive to work, if you get suspended for how you're going to get to work and have your job if you're going to be out there drinking and driving. So it's just not worth it. And that's why I wanted to emphasize that over the holiday coming up.
It's so important.
You know what? It's so much cheaper. Just pay for an Uber, have a good time, or Lyft or rideshare. I want to add everybody, taxis, buses, and all that. But just make sure that you just don't get behind the wheel, or if you feel different, just have somebody else drive for you.
And a lot of those places, they do the free stuff, which you post on the
absolutely.
X and stuff
Around
like
the
this
holidays,
of-
you just
of
got to
that
look
day,
for
you
it.
know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right. So this is the time now where we used to just talk, and now we talk and show pictures. And so the reason for that is because we found that people actually respond better to seeing pictures when they know what it is they're talking about. So here you are, okay?
Yep.
Now, what I want to talk about is this. All the time you see in the cars, right, going by the latest radar detector and stick it on the windshield, plug it into the cigarette lighter, drive down the road at 100 miles an hour, and you won't get caught. And so what people don't understand is that these motorcycles are sophisticated machines. You touched on it earlier, okay? But people need to know you have front radar and rear radar. So when you're coming up at 120 miles an hour from the back, you're busted. And when you're driving on the freeway, right, like
Yes.
we've talked about with the joining forces, there's someone there. And so when you blow past them and they have all the motors lying down the side at the next exit, it's too late. You can't put on the brakes at this point. And so talk to us.
Like as far as just
About the LiDAR and
just-
about
just
these
about the-
pictures and all that stuff.
I mean that's sort of one of our main focuses with the Motor Squad is targeted enforcement, like the stuff that we do here. That picture's from actually last week. It's from the Southern Nevada Traffic Task Force, and then this is just some examples, and this is the LiDAR I was talking about. So it's a magnified optic, 10 times magnified optic. And so we can pretty much shoot out. It's got a distance of 2,500 feet. So we can shoot out typically around like 1,000 to 1,500 feet is where we're pretty much hitting people at as far as the LiDAR. And so the LiDAR, it shoots a laser out, and then it bounces off the car and then comes back. So when it refracts off the vehicle is what they call it. And then it reads out in milliseconds. So it shoots out, comes back in milliseconds, and it gives you the exact the speed and also the distance. So when people are using, they have their LiDAR or they have their radar and laser detectors and stuff like that, and they can spend all their money on that. In most cases, they're not going to function the way you want to function. Those people will probably be just better off just sticking close to the speed limit, and saving their money and maybe upgrading their car, something in their car, like maybe a nicer amenity in their car. But yeah, so pretty much a lot of people, and this is the thing, a lot of people think that that's all you have is just radar, and that you're always getting them with radar, and radar just shoots out a beam, and then you actually have to go to radar training to where it shoots out a beam, and then you're making the visual estimate of how fast the vehicle is going. It's going to catch the fastest vehicle. The LiDAR is more exact, so at 1,000 feet or under, the beam is only 3 feet wide. So we call it like per se under 1,000 feet. It's per se what you see is what you get, and that's the car. That's the exact speed. Once you get out 2,000 feet and the beam starts to spread out a little bit more. So a lot of times when we're shooting it, like there's only a couple vehicles on the road. If you're trying to shoot through traffic, shoot a LiDAR through traffic, that becomes a little bit more challenging. But a lot of times, we position ourselves in areas of the valley where we're going to get a break in traffic. so that we can shoot, and it's line of sight. So if someone's coming up, behind someone else, like you're coming up in your car behind someone else, and that car in front's blocking you, I wouldn't be able to get the LiDAR read off you, even if you were going faster. So it's
Right.
line of sight. So
But generally, the speeding or the faster person is in front of the traffic.
yeah,
Right? And-
yes,
and-
yes.
And so the thing is that this is a real problem here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what fatals are up 30%, right? And they've gone up like since I mean, obviously COVID did a real number on us as a society, and since COVID,
That's why I say it's always gone downhill. Since
and-
COVID, our society is in general for everything has just got worse after COVID.
And that's kind of, I mean, like we can do as much as we can possibly do, but that's the agreement we have to have with each other, civilians and law enforcement, is that we have to have the agreement that we both have to work to get better at it. We both have to work, to bring the speed down, stuff like that. Where I mean, when you get some excuses, which if you're right, I always ask somebody why they're speeding. And some of the reasons why I'm late for work. Well, you're going 105 miles an hour. You're late for work. It's not like you're going to go back at, like, what time you have to be at work? 8 o'clock. Well, it's like 8:30. Like, you're not going to go back in time. Like, we're not.
And it's all about planning ahead. 'Cause
Yeah,
when I stop them, I say, hey, if you knew you had to be there at a certain time, why don't you leave a little bit earlier? And then that gives you time to relax. Let's say it's a 20-minute drive to
Yeah.
work.
Right.
You don't have to rush. You can relax, take time, have a coffee, listen to music before you get in, think of what you're going to do before work. Then trying to rush, put other people's lives in danger, and for what? And then if you get stopped, do you really want to be paying that $500-600 fine? You know what I mean? Is it worth it? And then
you're
you got to
gonna
worry
be-
about
and you're gonna
insurance.
be even later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this one, lighter, 115 miles an hour.
No,
Is that
it's-
acceptable on the I-11 nowadays?
it's-
I mean, it's
The thing is this, that people have these cars that have the small tires that are not rated to go this speed. And I see it all the time in the people with the trucks that are going, like, when you go on the freeway and they're at 100 miles an hour and the trucks are like this because they're trucks. You know what I mean? They're not made to go around a curve like a NASCAR driver at 100 miles an hour or the little car. And it's like, I get very scared because all that needs to happen is this person not prepared for their tires or whatever, and all of a sudden they have a blowout. Like the cars are not made to go. Some cars are, fine, I understand. But a lot of cars are not made to go at these speeds. And they put everyone's life in danger. And I come back to the fact, and I say that most people care. But the ones that don't care, they are driving at these speeds. And some of them are even doing impairment and driving at these speeds.
Well, and some people don't understand too, and I've talked to teenagers and adults all the same, but I ask them when they're doing 95 miles an hour, if you have a complete blowout right now, do you think you can completely have control of your car? Because a lot of people panic, they overcorrect.
Yeah.
And guess what? Out here in Nevada, especially in the rurals, once you get in that gravel and it starts to furrow in, that's the actual weight of the car furrowing into that soft dirt, it's a rollover every time. If you don't have your seatbelt on, you're either going to get ejected or you're going to have some serious injuries, if not death, inside your own car there. So I ask a lot of people that, and they come back and tell me the honest answer, no. Then why are you driving this type of speed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people cannot control their cars. They don't have the training or the ability that they know that the speed of that car, even if you try to slow it down, you got that weight and that momentum going, it doesn't just stop on a dime. And we've talked about that with trucks too. People, that's a whole different segment.
But it's
We're going to
very
get that in
important.
next time.
People have
Absolutely.
to know that when they're driving at these speeds, that the reason that they have the Traffic Safety Commission and that they say to drive at 65, fine, you do 70 miles an hour or something like this, you do a couple miles an hour over, which we don't recommend anyway, but they put a speed limit because that's the speed you should be going.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
They've
It
done
doesn't say
studies on it.
35 for you to do 70 because you want to drive fast.
Absolutely.
So, Corporal McClarty, When is the first time that you are going to first class that you were supposed to do?
I'm actually in the class now, so that's why I said I was doing a dual role. I'm
Oh.
helping out with recruiting. I'm still scheduling people for
But
the
you're
testing.
but you're doing the class now.
Correct. Yeah,
And how do you like it?
I like it, and I've already had a relationship with these people, these cadets.
He recruited
because
them.
because you recruited them.
Right. So I kind of told them I was like, I'm kind of switching roles. So
Yeah.
forget the recruiter. Now it's the trainer.
It's going to be
right?
memorable
So,
for him.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
It is.
So it's a little different because some of them I helped out with like their workouts prior to even
Right.
passing the test because they had some issues with push-ups or things like that. But it's a job.
I mean, the thing is, so Trooper Talk, we just finished episode 172, which is just over 3 years of filming. Okay? And so when it comes to you doing what you're doing, I always say that from the colonel to the lieutenant colonel to the major, all the way down, the mentorship that is provided on every facet of what it is that they do is tremendous, and it will be so memorable because those people, and I don't mean people as in men or women, right? But they are going to have for the rest of their life, and you're going to be there, and you're going to be the guy that helped them to do push-ups, then did the academy with them, and really set them up to be fantastic for whatever they do, which is to be a trooper or parole and probation for the first couple of years. So when it comes to the training and stuff like that, is there a lot of homework that you had to do, or you pretty much knew everything?
There was no homework. You just had to. Well, honestly, you had to
I
know
mean,
the
like
job.
for
But
you, was there
no, there was no. Well, I take that back. So the interview involved, I think, homework because I had to teach like a 10-minute class, so I had to practice what I wanted to say.
yeah.
I had to think about things to make myself different from the other candidates that were doing it. So I would say that was homework. And then
And do you
and
wear
honestly,
the smoky?
and honestly, being on here,
Yeah.
helping me speak in front of people, like ad-libbing because you throw so
Yeah.
many random things.
Yeah.
That's great.
That probably helps
Yeah.
with interviews. And I even with people coming in, like every time, even if you don't like a class, like take something good from it because there's always something you can use or take from it. And I've kind of like lived by that, being from the military. Maybe you were younger, you had like a poor attitude when you were going into things, and it made that specific training a little bit worse. But as you grow, you're like, you know what, I could get something out of that. My attitude can be way better, and I might actually have fun. So now I kind of engrave that into whoever I speak with the recruiting, and then now with the training too.
Do you wear the smoky?
I have not yet because I'm still a little lacking on some of the uniforms.
Oh. But you will wear one of these.
Yeah, so I have one. I just need to change the badge on the front.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And so for people that don't know, right? When you're parole and probation, you don't wear that, right? But now that you've transformed into this new role, right? So it's
Yeah.
very exciting, right?
I did sneak one in when I was a recruiter. I asked for one, so I already had one. Yes.
Gotta look
And
at
And
this
so what,
part.
what
it's
does
like a
the
selling
badge
point.
say? So yours says parole and probation, and now you have to change it to.
It'll say corporal on there.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be the same. We'll just have the
same.
corporal
It'll say
title.
corporal. Okay.
Yep.
All right, very exciting. We can't wait for the videos, right?
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
I mean,
We're excited for 'em.
I know, very exciting. We're Johnny and I are going to when the class is over or something like that, just to see.
You know what Johnny could do?
Yes,
It's
And
come
I
on,
know
Trooper
I know
Talk.
he hears me right now.
yes, he does. He's
Um,
smiling over there, but he won't admit it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Right.
tried to get him on.
Right,
It's
but-
essentially it's not going to be my last one. I know I'm going to get.
We tried.
Right.
We said that we would put him on the green screen after
Yeah.
we're done here, and
I'll at least get a picture.
Absolutely.
believe me.
Everybody back at home really wants to know who the cameraman Johnny is.
Believe me,
I'm
I would
telling you.
do anything to get him on there. But he won't do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? One
Yep.
day we got him on here a few times. The only problem is that he cuts the video.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
when he
cuts himself out.
of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
sort-
we'll put it in. Yeah,
right.
whatever.
We're
Yeah.
sort of at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right, let's see what we got for this one. All right.
And I'm gonna let you talk about that, Ted, because
Oh, great.
that's at Sierra Vista High School.
Yes, tell
Sierra
me.
Vista.
Look at this.
We go to Sierra Vista ROTC. This is a Sierra Vista ROTC, and just like where our job's not just enforcement and handing out citations, but education and promoting good driving habits and whatnot. So it's I mean, where else do you start than the younger generation and ones that are just starting off driving. This is a great class actually. It's Sierra Vista. So we try and go there. We go there about once a year. Do a couple Q&As with the ROTC program over there, and we get some great questions also, because it's not, especially with the kids that are about to drive or just starting driving, whatever we can answers we can provide to kind of help prepare them for driving in Las Vegas. I mean, I don't know how you prepare anyone for driving in Las Vegas, but because a lot of us are not really from here. A lot of people moved here, and these kids are growing up. And I mean, I had the benefit of at least learning to drive, in a suburb of Chicago. So it's not, I'm not hopping on the highway. I probably didn't hop on the highway for at least a year or so, And so driving here is significantly different than anywhere else. I'd say in the country. So just with all the challenges that we have, in 24-hour town and whatnot. So they have Sierra Vista. Yeah, they have a pretty awesome technology. Like they have like 3D printers that actually Elon Musk, when Tesla was coming here, he had donated money for them to create. So they took their auto shop that they had, and then they have like a CNC machine in there and stuff like that. So that's actually one of the things that they do there is those are ceramic tiles.
So it's very important when it comes to the younger adults learning to drive, and it's something that we don't really talk about a lot, but it is something that's very important. So when you get a chance to go to a place like this and talk to younger adults, it's not only meaningful to them, but maybe we're saving lives. Because all we need to do is get a hold of one of those children or young adults that is going to want to drive or get impaired, that they go, I remember this guy that came there. I don't remember his name, but he brought his motorcycle there. We did things, and I'm not going to do that, right? Just like they just said. You know what? When I leave here, I'm not driving fast. I can tell you from my end, I know since I started doing the Trooper Talk that I don't drive very fast anymore, because I know how seriously you guys take it. And I don't mean guys as in men and ladies. You know what I mean? It's very important.
And that's why we're here, Neil, too, is to educate the motoring public not only what we do every day, but to give them safety reasons when they're out on the roadway. So, because we want everybody to be safe here in the valley, and that's one good thing having this show here. One thing that Sarge was talking about is the motorcycle's kind of blocking it, but I want the folks at home to know that there's a huge group of kids that attend this for that ROTC. And,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
Johnny, look at that picture.
Yeah, so I mean,
My wife
even though it's blocking out, this is a tremendous thing that they're able to go every year and speak on.
Yeah, and I want to add the nice part, like the two guys that are up on the screen there,
all.
and they're veterans, so like it's ROTC thing. These kids are looking to go into military, so it's kind of a two-pronged benefit there. It's like, hey, these guys were in the military, and then now they're working for Highway Patrol. So how you transition out, if you're interested in eventually going into law enforcement, going through the military and then getting out, that it's an option, and how that transition works. So
yeah,
they
and
speak
it's
to
very,
that.
very important. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I was going to say Officer McClarty, Corporal McClarty, right? He did the military, then he did the casino, right? And not playing in the casino, worked for the casino, right?
I played a couple times too. But
And when you come to the Nevada State Police, that family has that certain camaraderie as well, and so it's a wonderful fit. You mentioned one time that the from the military, what they have 3 months or something, right?
if somebody's transitioning out and they want to essentially EAS or separate from the military, they have an opportunity to intern with someone like us, because we're a partner for a state partner with SkillBridge is what they call it. They can intern with us for up to 180 days. They can start the background process with us. So once they're through and even partially in it, they can attend one of our academies. So they don't have to worry about, like I did, of finding a job once I separate, finding a place to live. Like well, obviously you'll still have to find somewhere to live if you don't live here already, but you'll have a job lined up. So once you're done, you're getting hired and getting paid by us and starting a new career.
Yeah, and that's what's really important. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Because a lot of people, when they transition out from the military, they're not sure exactly what it is that they want to do, and so that's one of the things that they can.
Like when I got out, I knew I wanted to go to school. I had the 9/11 GI Bill to use. I started using that. I was getting the BAH that you get from it too, so you're getting housing allowance if you take a certain amount of credits per semester. It did take me a while to find this position because, like you said, I did work at the Mirage, which isn't there anymore. So I worked there for like 7 years while I was going to school full time.
Who was it that told you about the somebody came in or something, right?
About what?
About the Nevada State Police.
No. So I had applied. I applied, and this is just giving somebody experience of trial and errors.
Yeah.
You did. So I went and applied for Henderson Corrections at one point, and I failed their polygraph.
Oh.
So then I came over here because I knew at that point I wanted some type of law enforcement, and I had heard about the pay of Henderson Corrections and the job. I was like, I can do that, and then the pay sounds great, benefits and stuff. And then I think I had a friend that was applying for Highway Patrol.
Yeah.
Prompt probation kind of seems like more my alley. I envy what the Highway Patrol does, but I also wanted to be a part of the community a little bit different. So I chose the prompt probation because I like talking to people. I get to meet their families and have a little bit more of an impact in my own way. So I chose and went that route.
And being a recruiter, he also, like military when they're thinking about transitioning out of the military, he'll actively go to the job fairs that they have, like on bases. So they'll explain to them about the bridge program and how it will, how you can transition into the Highway Patrol or probation straight out of the military within that 6-month period.
Yeah, we actually have one that's in our academy right now that's on SkillBridge, and he's going to be a trooper. I think the last 3 academies we've had one each.
So
all
this is
becoming
a
troopers.
great way that the Nevada State Police is reaching out and trying
Oh,
to
absolutely.
do everything that
and
they
then
can.
even one right now, he finished his internship. Unfortunately, we didn't have an academy lined up for him because he was transitioning out. Then he got assigned to a reserve unit that was in Ohio. They have mandatory training that they had to do, so he had to skip out on this academy. But he's going to be in 104, which is going to be in our Carson Academy on February 28th. So he's sitting at PNP right now, or prompt probation, doing, our pre-cadet program where you can do up to, I believe, 90 days prior to an academy start date. You can get hired by us. You're getting paid as a cadet. You're kind of learning the people or the
that's
job
cool.
that, on the civilian side or the side that doesn't have to deal with, the sworn requirements and things like that, arrests and things like that. But he's able to learn the job, actively, the computer work, the paperwork and things like that. So he'll be ahead of the game, learning the 10 codes and everything by the time he goes to the academy, does the academy, and then comes back down here to work in the South.
Yeah, he'll be ahead of everything.
Oh,
just having that knowledge and everything prior to the academy.
Yeah, and
So
you're
that's a
in
good thing.
103 now?
103 down here in the South.
Down
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Hey, my old badge number is 102.
I'm keeping track of you. You know what I'm saying? I want to see you at the end
Yeah.
here. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yep,
very
we
excited.
have 21 that are still in there.
I'm very excited to see you with the smoky on too.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say, you guys can come to day one.
You not to say you seem very docile, but
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like I can picture these two guys screaming at somebody and me like running to like finding a cave and being like, no, you know what I mean? But like, do you get mad? Like you can put on the thing and like yell at people?
It's controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos.
Control. Yeah, and I mean I have kids, so obviously I yell. So, and if
That's a good one there, Doug.
if any way I can translate that to this, I'll be fine. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's very funny. All right, look at this, Darth Vader.
Oh, absolutely. And let me
Destruction
explain a little
versus
bit this.
cancer.
Yep, this was Construction versus Cancer, the
Yes.
2024 Construction versus Cancer. And this was at Silverton Hotel and Casino. And we were able to, this was actually the commercial unit, which I'm hoping to get on next week. We'll talk
Yes.
about commercial.
Yes.
But these guys were, I got to be a part of this, and it was fantastic. And we were able to save some of the plastic trooper hats that Neil provided.
Oh.
So what happens is, like, it starts at 10, but like at 9 o'clock, some of the kids that have cancer or some of the other stuff, we were able to get some of that items out to them, early before that. But we had items for everybody. We had, bracelets and all kinds of stuff to hand out. So it was really fun for the kids. They had like numerous vehicles. They had all the like construction companies with their tractors and the backhoes, everything where kids could jump in and get in, and they
cool.
could jump in our cars, check it out. So it was a really good experience for them. So, and then American Cancer Society puts this on once a year, and that money will go towards new cancer research and events trying to promote helping childhood cancer and just cancer in general. So yeah.
We did the for the National Night Out. We ordered the
Oh, yeah.
smoky hats.
The plastic ones.
The
yeah.
plastic ones, and
They were a hit,
and
the biggest
he put,
hit,
And he put
yeah.
the little, and we put the little Trooper Talk stickers on there,
Yeah.
and gave them out to all the kids. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I
stuff
gotta
like that.
compete with the firemen somehow. They get all the swag. don't
Yeah,
they?
you know what? I'll have to talk about that in a second. But we had a Motor Mania, and it was so windy, but the firemen still broke out all their plastic hats everywhere. I'm like, come on, guys, you're killing us here. You're killing us. They must have an unlimited budget or something. I don't know, but yeah, we kind of watch it. But yeah, we had a few events, and I like posting this, showing them that how we're active in the community.
Yeah, of course.
We're always trying to give back, and especially a lot of the stuff for the kids. I mean, we love seeing the families come and bring their kids, because there's just lots to do at these different, Matter of fact, when I was at this Construction versus Cancer, you'll get to meet Sergeant Drone. We'll try to get him on. But one of his friends owned one of those, what are they, the corn dogs or whatever? Man, I had a couple of those, man. I'm telling you. I know it's not healthy, but I'm telling you, they were delicious. I mean, they kind of, they have food trucks and all the other stuff. So it's just fun events, for people to do something on a weekend. So.
The Nevada State Police, just like what you did with the high school, right, are always doing things for the community. And so I want to touch on the fact of what you said, that it's not just a matter of writing tickets or pulling people over or telling people not to do things. Yeah, listen, this is part of the job. You know what I'm saying? There are people in the world that they do these things that they need someone to say, listen, you shouldn't be doing this. And so for whatever the reason, right? But they still need somebody to tell them that. And so not every time, not all the time, but sometimes. And so, but when it comes to the community, when it comes to the things that we do, when it comes to what Nevada State Police does specifically for the children and all that type of stuff, it's a wonderful organization to work for. And, when in your position, you have motors that work underneath you. And so therefore you have to provide security to them, that you're secure, so that they know that what they're doing, that that we have to stay on the mission. And it's very, very important, right?
Yeah, kind of just like I said, we have to, we try and balance these things, from the public, doing the public events to enforcement and everything like that. We do try and balance that. So
yeah, it's very, very important. And so when I see things like this and you going with them, you know what I'm saying? It's really wonderful. And so for you to be able to provide that to people that might not know specifically about how great this family is, they've heard, or they have a friend, or that, you know what I mean? But it's totally different, and so this class 103 becomes so tight with each other, and they have to rely on each other there. And then when they get out, they have to rely on each other to grow too. And so it's things that they're going to look at in the future and say that this is a fantastic family and this is where I want to spend the next 30 years, 25 years, you know what I mean? Whatever it might be, because these things are important, right?
Right, and that's what kind of drew me into law enforcement in a way, is because it's similar to the military. You're going to go through experiences that a majority of people aren't going to be doing. They're going through a 6-month academy. Every day they're practically living with each other because they're there from 06, even before that, because they have to get there early to make sure that they're on time. The fitness that they do, the PT testing, all the classes that they're taking, all the yelling and all that stuff. They're all experiencing this unique aspect of the job together. And then once they're out of the academy, they have this built-in relationship now that, and the camaraderie that they have on the job. Not only that, they're going to bring that. Now they're going to meet the new people they're actually going to be working with. And then now that extended or that family's getting, becomes larger. So it's a really cool opportunity for them to do the academy and then move on through their career. Because you go to a regular job, and coming from like the Mirage, I made great relationships when I was the manager there at the spa, even a fitness instructor at one point when I first started. And that's a unique experience that I had with them, and I still have tons of friends from that. They're all working at different hotels and different careers now, but there's nothing like attending an academy or like a boot camp and having that career.
You have friends for life.
Yeah, you've had friends for
they're
life.
like brothers and
Yeah.
sisters for life.
6 o'clock in the morning they start?
Yeah, they have to be formed up 06. Yeah,
Ready to go.
ready to go.
So they get there generally what, like 30 minutes, 20 minutes?
Because
before?
I'm like a 15 minutes prior thing. Like if you're not 15 minutes prior, you're late in a
Yeah,
way.
no,
right?
I
Yeah.
feel the same. I call that Vince Lombardi time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
For
feel
us,
the-
it's
You
like
like-
a Marine Corps thing. So it's
Yeah.
Okay.
15 minutes
15
prior.
minutes, right.
Yeah.
So get there.
Yeah,
30
15 minutes prior is
before.
on time, so usually it's a little bit before that. But they're lining up 5:30,
Ready to go.
ready
That's
to go.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
And-
it's important. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
Like,
and it's something they want to do with their lives too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
it can change.
And at the end of the day, when they go out and they put on that uniform and, they carry that firearm and, they have a lot of authority, that they need to be in the ultimate respect for that and really like want it and love it, right?
And a big thing too is, like, I just thought of this. Like, I worked at the Mirage. Like, I liked it there, and I like to represent that. So like, there was like a vice president. Like, he had mentioned something of, I kind of forgot how he was, so I'm gonna misquote him. But like, if I see a piece of trash and I just walk by it, like that represents the Mirage. Like somebody's always watching, even when you don't think they are. So like, me walking through a simple hallway, picking up trash, throwing it away. It's not my job to do that. They have a specific person to do that type of thing, but I took pride in where I worked at. And it's the same thing here, but it's a little bit more so now, because you put on that uniform, you're representing yourself, but you're also I'm representing him, right? So if I do something that's not conducive to the job, or I'm doing something that's poor taste, I'm not only representing myself, I'm representing the sergeant, I'm representing him.
But even bigger than that, the
Like,
state of Nevada.
I was about to get there, and he jumped ahead of me.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
but like, you're representing something huge,
Right.
and not only that, like outside of Nevada too, you're representing law enforcement as a whole. So there's a lot of pride in that, and that's what we want to put off as Nevada State Police as an agency.
So there's a good movie called Miracle of the 1984 Olympics. And in there he says exactly what you says. He says the name on the front is a lot more important than the name on the back. And so it's very important. And I know that when you guys put on your badges, well, you have the other one, not
Yeah,
that one, right? It's the same. You know what I mean? There is such a level of pride, and that's why, for me, as just one person, right? I know that I drive differently because I know how much pride you guys take in wearing that. That when you pull somebody over and you walk up to them at 80 or 95 miles an hour and you say, what was the reason? It's not because you're trying to be a jerk. It's like, listen, like, I take so much pride in my work. Like, I just don't understand why you have to drive so fast. Can't you just leave a little earlier? Can't you do something so that we can stop you? And if we can stop you, then you're gonna tell somebody else, and I tell everybody. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason to drive fast, you know, and I used to, but it's really bad, and I know that when you drive fast and something would ever to happen, we're not race car drivers. We don't know how to control a car that you're doing 90 miles an hour and the front tire blows out and you're like, oh, well, turn left, turn right, you know, go a quarter second, whatever it is. It's not what we're trained for. You know, we're trained to get in the car, turn it on, put it in drive, and drive down the road. And so it's really wonderful, and I know that this is one of the reasons that when it comes to the Trooper Talk that we have to keep doing what we're doing, because we need to tell everybody and keep telling everybody that this is not what they should be doing, which is driving of speeding, driving of impairment, driving of these type of things.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I got on that tangent, but it really bothers me. You know what I'm saying?
We went and
Look at this.
some of the command staff. We went with the Las Vegas Veterans Parade, and that was to celebrate all those who have served and those who are currently serving, you know, throughout our nation and for the state of Nevada. So this was really exciting. We got to take we took different vehicles. We had the Mustang there. We had the Ford Explorer. We had our commercial trucks. So we kind of like, we had 4 of us, and we were able to do the parade route, and it was a lot of fun, and meeting a lot of our veterans and thanking them for the service they did for this great country that we live in.
It's
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
I love things like this. And again, I come back to the fact that the command staff is there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of times when you see pictures like this and, you know, it's like, you know, people that are just there and, you know, they're there to just take pictures. What is your job? Well, I go to you know, I work for this agency and I just take pictures all day, you know, so they think we're doing things. And it's not the case. And so it's a really, really wonderful, wonderful thing. And I love to see that and the horse back there.
Well, I was going to tell you, that's the reason.
We're going to get that on another one.
I asked them to put that horse in there because I was thinking, you got the Mustang,
Yeah.
and then we could have say it's a Mustang behind us.
Right.
Yeah,
So
so.
Sergeant Clifton has a Mustang. Little did I know.
A real Mustang.
A real Mustang, the horse. And so, And so I am very interested to try to figure out how to get that Mustang in this studio.
Well, we're gonna have a
with
new-
Sergeant Clifton.
We're going to have a new, on our next episode, we're going to discuss a little bit about that with the Mustang.
Okay, good.
So,
Because
yeah, that's coming up.
I want
It's coming
Sergeant
up.
Clifton riding his Mustang and parking it right here.
Ooh, it'll be pretty interesting.
What is this then?
Okay, this is just this last Saturday. It was called Mighty Motor Mania, and it was Commissioner Justin Jones from
The
Clark
size of
County.
that truck.
Yeah, put this on, and they had over 75 vehicles, Neil, and we were able to participate. They asked us to participate, so I brought Sergeant Drones. So we had the commercial and our truck and our Mustang out there, and we're giving out, you know, like the bracelets and different stuff, you know, for the kids, and coloring books, stickers, stuff like that. But they had, you know, a lot of construction stuff. You would have loved to have seen that oversized. It was like a limo behind
Yeah,
us.
did
You know what I
see
mean?
that thing?
Yeah, it was
I wanna
crazy.
drive that.
They had Lamborghinis out there. They had a little bit of everything out there.
Is
so
that legal to drive with them? Probably not, right?
no,
Yeah.
that's not legal.
Right.
It'd be a street ride,
That's
but
like a height limit, right?
Oh, very high limit.
Yeah, you know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? I would drive
Yeah,
down
that-
the road and everybody would move out of the way. You know
But
what
yeah,
I'm
it was
saying?
Las Vegas Commissioner Justin Jones put this on, and what he did is it was free admission if you brought like canned food or food
Oh, yeah,
stuff
that's great.
to give out to people that need it. So it was a good program, and this was just last Saturday. The only thing I had was that there was a little windy that day, but we survived it. So
How does this thing ride when it's windy? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is a lot better than the Harley. You know, when we had the Harleys, you're pretty much protected. We used to actually wear during the winter. We did have like a winter kind of winter pants and winter jacket when we had the Harley. But this with the heated, it's got heated seats heated grips, and that's what it comes from the factory.
Heated grips.
Yeah, heated grips, which are pretty much what you use most of the time. Is just just keep your hands warm.
Yeah.
But like when I turn it on, the windshield goes up, so you get a little bit larger windscreen on there, and you're really protected from the elements. I mean, with the exception of rain,
Yeah.
and snow. Unfortunately, we don't have much of that. But yeah, it's really like I said, this platform we enjoy a lot more. We like a lot more than the Harley. So.
You go when it rains? Do you go out?
Yeah. So depends on how long, right? Because I mean, it could be raining here in the southwest part of the valley and not raining in the north.
Oh.
So we kind of play it by ear. So if if it's something that's gonna blow over really quick, we'll just find some shelter, under an overpass or something like that, and just let it go.
Right.
And then, but I want to say we're definitely riding a majority of the year. I'd say probably about 90% of the year we're on the bikes. So
I love my truck has the heated steering wheel. This is the most wonderful thing
Right,
ever.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Technology.
You put your hand on that steering wheel and it's nice and warm. It doesn't matter how cold it is. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know what BMW does, but with their grips, man, you turn it up to like 3, and you're like cooking. Like your hands are like cooking. So
Probably for the big gloves.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
got to
so,
be, because this is essentially the same frame setup as the GS. So like the on-road, off-road, the dual sport GS. So it's like the same engine and everything like that. They came out with a new GS, but this year it would be the same as the GS. So you got like the touring bike, and then you have the GS, which is your dual sport on-road, off-road bike.
And you said so this one is leaving soon.
Yeah, it would just mileage out. So we mileage them out at 60,000 miles.
Uh-huh.
And so these will mileage out, and then they'll go off to auction, and we'll pull all the emergency equipment off of it, and then we'll usher in the 2024s. The 2024s are a little bit different look to them, a little more aggressive look to them. But they're really, it's not like the technology is just stopping. It's getting better and better. So it's kind of that's the nice part, and it helps us, with doing our jobs as well, as the technology gets better and better.
How many miles do you so 10,000 miles on this will go what, 6 months for you?
Yeah, we're down south. Our guys average about 1,600 miles a month, and then as like the sergeant, because I got other responsibilities, so I'm probably around like the 1,100 miles a month situation. So yeah,
Probably next year or something like that.
Yeah. We're all kind of in like we all kind of are mileaging out around the same time. I say about 5 years.
5 years
is typically the case, and then it goes back to legislation, and they predict our fleet and stuff like that. They predict. That's why they need to know those numbers, how long a bike's going to last so they can put an order in.
And let me ask you something, because this is a very interesting thing. So now one of the biggest things that's really making me more nuts than ever is that when I drive home at night, people are not putting on the headlights. And every time I see somebody without the headlights on, I think they're drunk. Like they have some form of impairment or something. Like it's just something psychologically that puts in my mind, like, oh, you don't have the headlights on. And I see it all the time, which is the reason that I haven't driven my car in over 7 weeks now.
Which way do you drive home?
I drive straight down, I go down Jones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I say, from my experience, people driving without their lights on, it's probably a rental car. In most cases,
like they're not used to doing the actual switch
yeah.
because most are
Yeah,
automatic.
most
lot
of
of
our
times-
auto and new cars, they automatically come on when you're driving at night.
See,
So
Yeah, so
it's probably a rental
a lot of it is rental car. If it's a Chrysler Pacifica, it's 100% a rental car.
It's very scary. You know what I'm saying? And so like when we drive, when I drive down the road and I have to make a left-hand turn, I'm like I wait till there's no cars coming and people are behind me and they're beeping and I'm like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I want to make sure there's no cars coming down this road before I make a left-hand turn. And when I get out here and I make a right on Jones, it's very scary. These people are, So anyway, I got on that tangent again.
You're good.
You know what? You don't know what this means. That means it's over.
It's over.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Mostly painless.
I appreciate you coming on. Really, it means the world to me. When I see Lieutenant Campbell tomorrow, we will talk about the thing that we're doing that you're doing in December and all that type of stuff. And so I appreciate that you take the time. To come down here and bring the motorcycle and you know what I mean, like all that type of stuff. It really not only means the world to me, but for the viewership. You know what I mean, that are watching, that maybe one day they want to be you. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's real important. So I thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah.
Corporal McClarty.
Mm-hmm.
So
This isn't a farewell.
You're
I'm going to be on
going to
again.
have to stop in from time to time
Yeah.
and say hello. And maybe you'll put your Smokey right there or something like that, so you can have dual Smokey hats.
Yeah.
That's right.
You could do that.
But no, we think that you're fantastic. You know what I'm
I
saying?
appreciate that.
And certainly from where I guess where you were, when it came to first coming in here to where you are now, you are much more relaxed and.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Trooper Hagstrom, right? Who was always like this in the beginning, and is now like it grown into.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And so we think you're fantastic, and we want you to do great, and great things for the people that are going to be protecting us.
You'll be missed.
It'll
be a great loss.
You will be missed, and we did love it. We did love you coming on and hanging out with us and spending time. But if it is what it is, then maybe one day when you make sergeant, then you'll come back as well.
I'll come back before then.
Okay,
Good.
Because there'll
That's
be
what I hear.
times in between academies and we're not doing anything.
Right, not doing
Then
it.
we'll sneak them in.
Right,
Well, I
so
shouldn't say not doing anything because I don't know yet. I'm sure they do.
Oh, they got
Plenty.
stuff going on.
I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll find something for
Yeah,
you.
they'll get busy work going.
Trooper Hagstrom,
Yes, sir.
thanks for inviting him on.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping to
and
bring
doing
some
that,
more
and you know what I mean.
interesting things for not only with the Highway Patrol but other jobs
Yeah,
coming up.
no.
So I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's really wonderful, and so thank you.
Yeah,
You know what I
no
mean?
problem. Thank you for hosting us.
All right, so you ready?
Yeah.
Last and final thing. We got to look at this camera, and then we're just gonna wave.
Yep.
All right, see you later.